Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special episode of Spawncast. We're actually live today. Now, it's a bit of a one-off because I had a slight situation yesterday. You notice my voice is a bit better now compared to it was just a few days ago. Well, there's definitely something going around in my house because last night one of the kids got very sick and I had to take him to urgent care. And when we were going to record our podcast, so plans changed. So instead, some of the people here were kind enough to join me for about an hour or so, and we were going to go over the Game Awards anyway. But I figure we'll make a show mostly around that, and we have Click R3 this week coming up as well, so I'll throw some of the topics in there. But the next show we actually won't have one coming up for Thanksgiving week because it would have fallen within 12 hours or something of Thanksgiving. So I figured we'll reconvene December, I think I said December 6th. That's the fall. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll have an episode up on the 7th for you guys. So that's kind of the backstory here. Okay. That's why that's why we're here live, but people have been calling for a live episode again for a little bit. So it kind of all just worked out anyway, but let me go around here. We do have Celia joining us this afternoon.
Hi guys, happy afternoon. I woke up 20 minutes ago, so I'm still waking up and having my coffee. But happy to be here.
Well, thanks for jumping on as soon as you woke up, basically.
Yeah, I was like,
We also have Sean who just woke up as well.
No, I've been up. I've had diarrhea all morning, but I'm here.
Love that for you.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. Bacon, egg, and cheese with the maple bacon from Dunkin' that I got yesterday. I don't think it's
that's what did it. Yeah,
I don't think
fighting back.
Yeah, it's fighting back. But we're fine.
And then we have an Evan joining us.
Awake for a bit. No diarrhea, so.
it's all coming up, Evan. There. I did put this down though, Evan, and I figured there's not many times where there's a game that comes out that you are heavily invested in and can give us a quick rundown on. But Stalker 2 did come out, and I played 2 hours on my Xbox for it, and it needs some patches on that console. I will tell you that one.
It needs patches everywhere.
You're definitely playing it on PC though, and I assume on PC it's just a better experience right now. But you played the Stalker back in the day. I remember you telling me about that way back when.
Stalker.
There's some of your overarching thoughts here on Stalker 2. How much have you played?
I mean, I'm through the tutorial zone. I'm only 9 hours in, but I'm kind of wanting to hold off on it because the devs did come forward and say that one of the key elements in the game, which is called a life, basically what you're doing in the zone, there's stuff happening everywhere and it's actually happening. So when you're wandering around, you hear bullets in the distance. That's actually a fight going on that you could go to and see the aftermath of or join in. That's not working properly for a lot of people is what they're seeing. So the devs have been talking about trying to fix a ton of stuff. That's just kind of problematic. Not just about that, but general combat AI and everything that was supposed to be in it. Which, I mean, it's GSC. This is kind of how the old games were, too. They always needed to be fixed. They're probably the closest thing to Bethesda overseas. You always have to wait for the fans to fix most of the stuff. There's already a guy who's fixed a lot of the issues as well, like enemy health and stuff that seems to be completely out there, having to waste all of your healing and friggin' ammo on one guy just to get past a certain part of a game. It's ridiculous.
I noticed that because it's more of a survival game. I will tell you, sometimes when I see how much survival is involved with this stuff, it does put me off a little. Like when I saw the hunger meter thing pop up, I'm like,
yeah. If you're killing and you're looting, it doesn't matter. I eat food right off of people I kill. Yeah. And it never.
I had a lot. I threw down some vodka and I stumbled my way across the zone. So
I think I had to throw out 40 pieces of bread because it was weighing me down. I just threw it on the floor and kept going.
This is another interesting situation because of the current condition of the studio and everything going on with Ukraine and Russia. It's like they're literally having people go and fight in actual real life battles while trying to develop this thing. So it's a unique situation there. But it is a game that I technically I have Game Pass, so I just downloaded it. But it's one I'd probably recommend. It already sold 1 million copies, but hang out. Wait, see how the patches go, and most likely in a year we'll probably look back on this and be like, "Oh, okay, the game turned out to be pretty good."
Yeah, if they can get the combat AI to work, if they can get a life to work, and if they can rebalance some health.
I think they had to release the game. They've already delayed it twice, and they probably got to a point where they're like, "We kind of have to put this thing out there, or we're gonna maybe run out of money or so." I don't know. It's again, there's people are going off fighting war and stuff, and it's crazy over there with that. But I just want to get that out there because like I said, Stalker 2 is pretty fresh right now. And hey, if people are curious, download it on Game Pass if you have the service. It's just there. So you bought it though, Evan, on Steam. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes in the coming months with patches. So, Sean, Twitter's angry with you. I see people in the chat bringing it up already. Man, you really made an impression. You didn't even do it. You didn't even clip the 10, 20 seconds of you yelling. And it's impossible to get any kind of response on Twitter because it usually gets buried in replies or it's like it's just lost completely in the void. What did you do exactly?
We were talking about the Game Awards, and I was saying how the Slim Pickens reference was in reference to the fact that it was Slim Pickens for Game of the Year. And that's how we ended up with things like this. And I was talking about the entire industry as a whole, not just the games that were released to people. Now, you could argue about games, because they're subjective. When I see a game when I see people say, oh, well, Silent Hill 2 is one of the best games of the year. It's like, well, yeah, but that's a game that's already existed. Final Fantasy VII.
It's for specific people as well.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's a game that's already existed. I was talking about the entire industry, layoffs, job stability, studio closures, huge game failures. And in that sense, if you take the entire year, this was a dog shit year for the industry as a whole. Not even getting into, journalism stuff like that. If people want to take shit out of context and make their own narratives, like that's fine, dude. I do what you do. I thought most of you guys were moving to blue sky anyways. But it is what it is. If people want to watch the episode and get the context of things, go right ahead. I still enjoy video games. I enjoyed several games this year, but I think as a whole, especially on the AAA side of gaming, it was a questionable year at best.
Yeah, the transition from Sean, Sean, you were harsh because you looked in the camera and was like, everyone who likes games is a loser and flipped them off basically. So I understand that people were pissed. I'm also glad I was like, when this does get clipped, please cut me out of it. And they did. That was so kind of them. But for actuality, because I wish they used a longer clip because, we were talking about, more specifically Game Awards for Nintendo. And we were kind of all stumped of what first party titles would be so monumental that would get the game of the year. And we were all just kind of sitting there being like, I'm not sure. I enjoyed the games. They were really fun. We really loved some of the remakes. Thousand Year Door is my game of the year every year since 2006 or whenever it released. But for the game of the year title, there's, it's slim pickings. And then I got really sad because I'm it's in general, it's been really hard for games with developers and a lot of my studio friends have experienced layoffs. I don't think there's a studio that hasn't experienced layoffs in some way or another or affected with how hard the industry has been right now. And I know we're supposed to be, celebrating and being oh, it's so great for games and we're winning, but I just feel sad. And it feels you have to pretend to be really excited and happy about things when I'm sad for my friends. There's been a PAX where I went around looking this last PAX, I went around looking which of my friends are still here? People that I've been going on this convention circuit for the past 10 years. And there's a few people that weren't there and it was sad. And their absence was noticed. Anyways, that's me being sad. Okay, let's continue, guys.
And I did say, if you listen to the clip, I did say, if you think this was a banner year for the video game industry, you're a fucking idiot. And I will stand on that 10 toes down. This was not, there were some great games, but the industry did not have a banner year. The fact that, as we'll get into it, DLC is now eligible for Game of the Year. What does that say about full games that released that did not need a base of a game, that came out in 2024? But, Stephen King himself couldn't write a story this good. So it is what it is.
I do think last year, 2023, was better for games, like in terms of releases than this year. But I still played a bunch of games and had fun with them. But there wasn't like last year. It was okay. It's Tears of the Kingdom versus Baldur's Gate 3. I don't see that lineup right now between two different games fighting it out, because as you said, we're about to talk about DLC. So I think there are a lot of like good games, but nothing like, as you mentioned, like that really broke through and was like, this is a 96 or a 97. It's incredible. Never seen something like this. Just haven't had that hit this year necessarily. So again, though, I will say this, because people were mentioning that you were doing it for engagement. I've talked about all these games that I'll play at times, and Sean will then message and be like, I spent an hour playing Command and Conquer on the N64 just now. So he's legitimately playing like a lot of the older retro stuff instead of like the newer stuff right now, because it's not capturing him like before.
Just beat Phantom Ganon and Ocarina of Time. I've been going through that again with a widescreen patch on original hardware. And I mean, I played and beat Astrobot. I played and beat Star Wars Outlaws. I played and beat Batman Arkham Shadow VR, which should have been a Game of the Year nominee. Like, come on, man.
Maybe they'll have DLC for it next year.
Yeah, and then it could get nominated.
There we are. We were figuring it out. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I did, as I said, I did throw in the Game of the Year stuff with the controversy that was going on. There's a lot of stuff happening with this one, and as we've alluded to multiple times, a lot of it does have to do with the nominee, specifically one. Actually, there were two. There's at least two nominees that I saw brought up, and one was kind of funny because people came around on it a bit online. The other one, though, is just back and forth. So why don't we just go over? We'll just go over to it here. So this is the entire. First of all, are there too many categories for this show?
Is that even all of them? Because I know they do like the 3 or 4 between commercial breaks that are just tiny.
I said show all the categories, and this is on their website right here. But they also have like player's voice down here, which they'll have where we vote on different on like through a bracket that they have, and they do it pretty quick. It's like, as you see, just 3 rounds. So that'll start December 2nd, it'll end December 9th. But it's just that one's the popularity contest for people to just go and vote. Whereas this is like weighted, where what is it, like 90% is for judges and stuff that vote on a jury, and then 10% is like actual fan vote.
So yeah, the fan vote. I mean, you're kind of just doing nothing. And plus you're also taking it at face value. Like, are they really taking that 10% and doing something with it, or they're just like, let the common folk think that they're doing some good here. Let Newsweek and LA Times, make the decisions.
So I said we would be live for about an hour or so to these good people here joining me. So we're gonna go through and see what we can figure out with these different categories as best as we can. Some are gonna come up. I have a feeling that we are just going to look confused and dumbfounded at the nominees. So those we might go by a little faster, okay? But we'll give our best idea as to what will win, and maybe we'll also throw out what we want to win. How about that?
You know what? I almost feel like if you look at how this is set up, I almost feel like it's from most important to least important in terms of like what will actually get stage presence and stuff like that. Look at it. Okay.
I bet Esports is the first one, and then Game of the Year is the last.
Sean. Yeah.
Right?
Oh my god.
Right?
Holy shit. Okay, sorry. I'll stop cursing.
No, I like it. Keep it going. You make me look better.
I know. Oh my god, I curse like a sailor.
We're going to start with Esports team. Evan can maybe walk us through
they go
this.
first in my book.
Evan is in the Esports stuff. He understands a fair amount of it. So there's Team Liquid, T1, Navi, Gen G, and Billy Gaming. Okay, Evan, are you familiar with these teams?
I'm familiar with Team Liquid, specifically for Dota 2. Team Navi, not so much for Counter-Strike, although I think I'm watching a Counter-Strike player over here right now. I mean, at the end of the day, it is just the people who write and who are on this little panel that's going to vote for this. So I imagine, just to appease some people, it's going to be one of the league teams, either T1, Gen G, or Billy, just to do it. Although it's always fun to do Team Liquid because they have some ridiculous documentaries out that make them look like just absolutely crazy people.
Look, esports is like a legit business. There are a lot of millions
of
dollars.
Huge business.
So I can't put it down necessarily. I can't tell you though, some of these categories actually make me feel like I'm in my late 30s. Go ahead, Sean.
I don't know. All these people, like the first two teams, like it's very similar dress style. What's up with
Very
that?
in sync.
No, then the team 4 is from that same area, and it's still just white outfits.
Huh. They at
But
least
that's the
have,
thing.
like,
It's
black pants on.
No, yeah, but it's the thing. It's League of Legends. League of Legends always pushes the teams, the people, that side of thing. Navi Counter-Strike's a big game, but like you don't really know a lot about the teams. There's usually one or two standout people. Valve tried to make Dota 2's behind the scenes stuff huge, but that kind of like fell through, and then they sold to another company to manage most of their tournaments. So yeah, it's probably going to end up just being one of the League of Legends teams, just because those are pushed way more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going with Team Liquid.
There you go.
Team Liquid's fun. American team that's mostly Europeans.
USA.
In my opinion, thanks for asking, guys.
You don't know any of these people.
I don't, but I could do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And I'm going to vote T1. I don't know. With Esports team, one of my sorority sisters used to be like the house mom or whatever for a famous team. I can't remember who, but I can't unhear all those stories. So I just feel like it's interesting. So yeah, T1. Thanks for asking, guys.
Okay. All right. Well, how about this, Celia? What's the best?
This is just going to be Faker.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be Faker.
Yeah, it's just going to be Faker.
Of course.
Yeah, he's doing the number one thing. He's ready.
Yeah. Because he is number one.
Okay.
I wonder if they submit their own picture or how that's done. Like, do they pick?
Well, they probably have like a headshot and stuff for
the two on the left look like headshots I've seen in tournaments. So those are just built in.
Yeah.
The rest of them are probably like publicity photos or whatever.
What about best esports games, Delia?
I don't know. Let's see.
I think this year it might be Valorant.
Valorant, you think? Like, I feel like League's always been. Has League gone down in popularity?
No, but I mean, this is just them trying to like maybe mix it up. Did Valorant win last year? I'm trying to remember.
I like how 3 of the games and arguably a stretch 4 of the games all have the same art style. Like, you could tell me that League, Bang Bang, and Valorant were all the same game, and these were just different art pictures from it, and I'd be like, oh, okay.
I mean, it's basically same studio.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 2 of them are Riot.
Sort of, yeah.
I feel like League is incredibly popular, but although Counter-Strike is constantly like the number one game on Steam, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean that's how that is. It's got its trade market, everything. People do enjoy it, but it's a different kind of community than I think the more forward and active Riot Games type stuff.
Isn't it weird that somebody said it in the chat, Call of Duty is not on there?
No.
I feel like that was kind of a time. I remember way back in the day. I remember Halo and Call of Duty were like massive.
It's not. I don't think a lot of people consider it super competitive because the game built itself to be hyper casual. It wants a casual community, so it built itself to be casual. So people don't really respect it as a massive thing, as opposed to Counter-Strike, where you have to have a ton of information for how the bullet spray moves and everything.
Okay, content creator of the year.
Flip a coin.
Be nice.
Roll a dice.
I'm gonna go with the VTuber.
No, it's gonna be the VTuber.
Yeah, because I think that's cool. They need more recognition because it's VTubing is like a huge part of like the influencing like content creation in the East. I know it's been like popping up in the States, and I just like anime characters, so go VTube.
Okay.
I like Queso because he looks like he likes to have fun.
Yeah, that looks like a guy you'd hang out at Arby's with.
Oh, he does have Waffle House.
He don't give a fuck about nothing. He's at the Waffle House to start a fight at 3 a.m.
You'd go to Sonic with him.
Probably the photo that he submitted.
I like that dude.
I'm voting for Queso just because he has the Waffle House in the background.
Yeah, Waffle House is legit, bro.
Going with it. All right, most anticipated game. Why do they even have this category? Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean it's clearly GTA 6.
Yeah, that's obviously gonna win. Grand Theft Auto 6.
Dead center, so you know which one to click.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's so.
This was a waste of a category.
Okay, next one. Best adaptation.
Yeah,
Like Tomb Raider,
television
like Dragon,
show,
Knuckles, Fallout,
movies.
Arcane.
Well, new season of
guys.
Arcane's out. Probably going to be that.
Did you notice that in most anticipated there wasn't Silk Song? I was about to make a Silk Song joke, and it wasn't on there.
I think everyone's given up on it.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that.
Is that
It
like
does
the
kinda
end of the Where's Silk Song era? Okay, continue to the
best adaptation. I think you might be right, Evan. Arcane, but I'm very unfamiliar with it. I just Fallout, man. When that came out, that was a huge thing. That's a very good show.
Yeah, but we found that 90% of this is what's fresh in people's minds when they vote.
That's kind of true too.
Yeah,
So,
Arcane.
there you go.
But I want Knuckles.
You want Knuckles?
You want Knuckles?
Fallout. Yeah. I mean, Fallout was so good, people actually fired up Fallout 76 afterwards. All right. No one voted for Tomb Raider. I haven't watched the Tomb Raider thing. I have no idea.
No, I love Laura, but no.
Oh, okay. Let's see. We have best multiplayer. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and then Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
It's probably going to be between Call of Duty and Helldivers.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I kind of think Helldivers 2 is going to take it.
Yeah.
But Call of Duty just now, when did Call of Duty came out with 3 days left in October or something like that?
So
It was like
fresh
last
in
week,
mind for
right?
a lot of people. Helldivers 2 have been out long enough to have that controversy of forcing everyone to sign up for PSN. Maybe that knocked it down a little bit. Maybe.
But you got to think of the actual judges though.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
They're
They
not
were
normal.
Yeah, but those are the people who wrote the articles about how Sony tried to get everyone to sign up for PSN. So maybe Call of Duty is the focus.
Well, Black
here.
Ops 6, we got some of the numbers for it. It's already like the third best selling game of the year in the US with like 3 or 4 days of sales.
I could see
Something
that,
crazy that fast. So, that over the holidays and stuff, just a lot of people have played it. I don't know. Helldivers 2 does kind of feel like
I think it might.
to take.
If this was halfway through the year, it would have been Helldivers 2. Call of Duty wouldn't have even been on this, but 100%.
I think Helldivers still has a chance just because they're more than likely Call of Duty's in another category that it'll probably win. So they'll just be like, oh, we could do Helldivers for this one.
Let's toss them an award real quick.
That's honestly how I feel about these things. And
yeah.
Until proven otherwise,
Well, there was the year where there were 2 big games that one of them kept winning all the subcategories, and then in the game of the year, it didn't win game of the year, and a different game did. And
Yes.
It's like, okay, so the one game won everything.
Yep.
Shouldn't that have been game of the year then? No.
All right, we have best sports/racing. Keep this category in mind going forward because I am going to bring it up again later for something. Sports/racing.
NBA 2K it's too. I think it'll come. I don't see it. WWE was pretty good until they started fucking around with things, but I feel like it'll be either FC or I think it's going to be FC.
I think it's FC as well. It's such a popular franchise. They don't even need the FIFA license anymore to sell this thing hand over fist. So I could see that. It is kind of a shame because I feel like Topspin, if it was actually good, would have had a really good shot at this category. MVG and I were real hyped for it, and we still haven't bought the thing because it had that issue with being able to pair up with a friend maybe online to go do doubles or even just play against each other. That was a weird thing that they missed on. So that's one I was gonna look to see if there's a Black Friday sale for it, maybe $20 or less, but I haven't seen anything pop up for it. So it's I'm thinking FC though. What do you think, Celia?
I'm not a sports game player. The last sports game I played was Mario Tennis. So I'm probably not a person to ask about this. But
Ooh.
I know I
I've
was
heard a
inserting
lot of good
myself
things
to
about
be
college
annoying,
football.
Celia, do you see that? Mr. Nobody dropped a very good message I didn't even think about till just now. It's a very good point. No college football.
That was one of the best-selling games this year.
Yeah, I heard it was
That is a good
incredible for
point.
sports players.
That was actually my next point. That's why.
What is that about? That's weird. I think that is the best-selling game in the U.S. right now is college football.
Well, call it COD's probably got to beat by now, but yeah, college football is sold ridiculously.
That's
it's okay. The esteemed jury knows what they're doing when they're making these nominations.
Yeah, that definitely sticks out. That is odd. Also, no, we just have like the one racing game. Like I feel like they just make this category / racing, and they just like, all right, we got to throw something in there.
Well,
F1's good, I'm sure,
and
but
it's pretty popular. It's definitely. I mean, I don't think. I mean, really, you could take off WWE and put college football if you know, but
yeah, but like that or there's just like the one racing game. I was trying to think of what racing games came out this year that were like really good. I feel like we just had a lot of updates to previously established racing games, and that's it. Like patches and DLC and stuff. Well, the DLC could be in here.
True.
Let's see about best sim strategy. Well,
oh, nice.
This is a Celia category.
This is a Celia category. Yay! We're getting up the total full of things. Yeah, I would pick Unicorn Overlord. Everyone was really excited about that game. And I haven't really heard about the other ones before, to be honest. They just weren't on my radar.
On Game Pass, Celia.
Wait, what?
Kinetsugami? That's Path of the Goddess. That's on Game Pass from Capcom.
Oh, dope.
That didn't seem to go as well as they thought it was, though.
Yeah, and it's a very weird strategy game. People like it.
Okay, when you say weird. Okay, time out.
You kind of play a single character, and you have to go ahead of someone that's walking, and you have to like clear things as they're going to where they need to go. But like, there's a little bit of strategy involved. It's not what you would commonly think of with like a tactics game or like a isometric, like Command and Conquer style. Like, it's none of that. It's just this really awkward, like completely different take on strategy, which I mean works for some people.
It didn't click for me, but Nate liked it. Colin liked it. I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah.
But Celia, you're asking about it?
Yeah, I've never heard of it, and I have Game Pass, so I could play it. Okay, I know right now it's not at the time to pitch the games, so I'll check it out next Spawncast in a few weeks. I'll give my thoughts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Unicorn Overlord's the one I'm familiar with, but Age of Mythology, I didn't get a chance to play that based on a game that I remember really liking way back when, but I haven't been on like an 8. Although Sean's been on a Command and Conquer kick, so maybe that's more his thing. Yeah, but he liked Unicorn Overlord.
Doesn't have the soundtrack, John. I would say Unicorn. That was a great game.
It'll probably be a Sidewinder Manor Lords vote.
Best family game, and this is interesting because typically this is Nintendo's category.
Echoes,
but they have some competition this year.
Astrobot will win something else. It's Echoes, I think.
I kind of don't. You know what? I sort of think it's Super Mario Party Jamboree, and I was gonna go with Echoes for a minute, but then I read the description.
Yeah, but just don't worry about that description.
Family play.
You'd think it would be a multiplayer family thing, but
yeah,
it's just not here. So
and then they nominate a bunch of stuff that's not like multiplayer family focused games. Well, yeah, it would be interesting if something like Astrobot won Nintendo for I can't remember the last time they didn't win Best Family Game, but that would be interesting if that's what happened. Echoes, okay, that's what Sean's going with. What do you think, Celia?
Yeah, it's a kind of confusing category because when they say best family, do they mean like for kids, like appealing to younger or E for everyone?
I think that's their focus. It sounds like multiplayer, but it's probably more you're sitting with your kid playing a game and then occasionally you hand the controller off and see what they do. Might be the situation.
I kind of want to see Astrobot take this category this year.
I think it's going to win something else though. So I think that because like this is like Nintendo's category. Like this is the only thing that they are really like somewhat deep in. So I think you gotta, I don't know,
We'll see.
Okay, Echoes. I think Super Mario Party. Sean thinks Echoes. What do you got, Evan?
I mean, it can't be Super Mario Party. That game destroys people's lives. Why would that be good for family? It'll probably end up being Echoes. If it's Astrobot, it's because of the vote. Because I mean, Astrobot's just like a fun platformer that's also a constant reference to all the games everyone really wants Sony to make that they're never going to make. And it's like that nostalgia hit for a lot of people. Oh, remember this? We're not bringing it back. It's not happening.
Best fighting game. For the best game design primarily around head-to-head combat. I have
Come on.
2 issues with this category already off the bat looking at the nominees, but let me go through. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiverses, and Tekken 8. Here's my issue. Multiverses was nominated and won last year.
Yeah, but then it was taken down, and now it's relaunched.
Yeah.
Now it's a new game, and that's allowed. It's anything goes.
And
Game
it
Awards.
flopped because people were like, no thanks.
Yeah, that's and then the other one is there's a collection of fighting games nominated. Not that the collection's bad or the fighting games are bad, but it's a collection of older titles here next to 3 other games, not multiverses here, but 3 other games that are original titles released.
Because they needed to fill out things, John.
It reminds me very much of when Jump Force got announced and as a nominee, and it's like, wow, they really just needed to fill a spot.
I think Dragon Ball will take it.
No.
Oh yeah.
I
don't know. Tekken 8 might grab this vote.
I was thinking Tekken 8, Evan. Yeah, Tekken 8 might.
It's in other categories, and I don't think it's going to win those other categories. I think this is it for it.
I like Dragon Ball Spark Zero more, obviously, because I'm not a big fighting game person, and it's a fighting game, but it's not like a serious one. It's very arcadey and very like, okay, don't take this too seriously. But Tekken 8 is quality, high quality. So at the end of the day, it'll probably be Multiverses that wins. So who cares?
Oh, obviously.
Now I'm going to go with Tekken 8. I'm going to go with Tekken 8. But
Jeff will have
Grand Blue wins.
Jeff will have a Powerpuff Girl come out.
I like Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, Sifu. That's right. Sifu was nominated for fighting game as well.
Oh my god. Yeah, I picked Dragon Ball. Well, that's the only one I've played out of all of these, and I like Dragon Ball Z a lot. So
yeah, MVG and Josie were really into Tekken 8. So
MVG got his ass whipped by Josie and Tekken 8.
Nice.
There's video evidence of that out there. Best RPG. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massive multiplayer. What? Really?
What?
I didn't realize massively multiplayer experiences were in this category.
They threw that in there.
Yeah, because they didn't want an MMO category because that was getting hyper saturated, but then it kind of died off over time.
Yeah.
So they probably just combined it into here.
Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and the Metaphor Refantasio.
Metaphor.
I'm kind of going with I'm going with Metaphor, but
I think if Metaphor wins this, it's definitely not getting Game of the Year.
Oh,
This is the runoff vote. This is the consolation prize right here.
That like game, what is it? Game direction or something? That's kind of like the silver. This is like the bronze.
Yeah. I'm okay with that for Metaphor. It's such a good game. I'm almost done with it. I don't want it to end.
It does feel. I mean, Dragon's Dogma 2 is a pretty serious traditional sense an RPG role playing game. Metaphor though, it does have that role playing style to it. Like that's very stylized. It leans into it quite heavily. If you play the game, like I was playing it the other night, and there was probably about 45 minutes of time that passed, and I didn't pick up the controller. It was just sitting there. So it is very much, all right, we're going to build this world. We're going to build this lore. And it's going to be a lot of like story elements between those dungeons and segments, which that makes sense. I'm understanding, Celia, why you were able to have like the Metaphor watch party kind of thing. It makes sense now after going through some of it.
Yeah, like in the beginning of the game, for a little while, like, yeah, it's you're watching a lot. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, so it's but I see it. There's a lot of customization, a lot of stuff we do to characters, and a lot of individual characters being built up. So I would go with Metaphor, but I did enjoy Like a Dragon. I enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Padding excluded, Sean, I understand. But after all of that, it's pretty clear cut and obvious that the DLC Shadow of the Erdtree is going to win.
It's a big year for DLC. It's gonna be great.
Now I'm gonna will Metaphor hopefully to win this category. So let's see. Best action adventure. Astrobot, Prince of Persia, Silent Hill 2.
Solid action adventure game.
Wisdom. For the best action adventure game, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving.
When I think action adventure, Definitely.
There's a
Silent Hill
game
2.
that I really want to see win out of this lineup, but I feel like it's not going to win because I don't think
Lost Crown.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
Prince of
Prince of
Persia?
Persia.
No, it's
Yeah.
Lost Crown.
It
I don't think enough
should.
people played it.
I know, but like it should win. I feel like that would be the best fit. This or Astrobot for this category, but I feel like I don't know. Zelda would probably get it.
But even like Astrobot doesn't really have.
Puzzles.
So they say combine combat, traversal, and puzzle solving.
It's
When you say those three things to me, I immediately think of the Lost Crown, like all the
Yeah.
stuff involved there. Astrobot doesn't really have the puzzle solving sort
You
of
gotta
thing.
pull
Like
blocks out of stuff, turn torches off
Yeah.
to open doors.
Yeah, but it's
Maybe-
not. It's not thinky puzzles.
it's not thinking puzzles. Well,
Yeah.
in that case, Silent Hill 2 is full of a lot of thinking.
Can't you turn them
obscure
off in the settings though?
You can make them very easy. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the idea.
Wait.
Or you know what you can do? You can just look up combinations and sequence break past large
Yep.
chunks of the game at times.
Yeah,
which is
why
the idea of going back through it. So
why isn't Stellar Blade in this? Like action game?
What's the puzzle
I'd put it
solving?
in action adventure. Yeah.
But-
I don't
but-
know. I probably
okay,
would have put it
action-
into the Star Wars Outlaws.
Puzzle
Action-
solving shouldn't be an action adventure, and I agree with that.
Well,
if that's where
action,
you're going,
action
Sean.
adventure are kind of like two different categories.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like they combined categories and then didn't proofread the description.
It's up for
'Cause
action game. Wait, is there a separate action category besides action/adventure category?
We'll find out. Maybe that's where Call of Duty is.
There's two categories: action, adventure, and action.
people
Okay.
watch this show.
All right,
I play a
Jeff
drinking
Keighley.
game.
Vote for the right thing, people. The Lost Crown. Give that studio their
You'll
award.
get that 10%. That'll go towards nothing.
All right, let's see. There you go, Sean. Best action game. Black
Oh my
Myth
God.
Wukong, Call of Duty
With
Black
no
Ops 6,
puzzles.
Soul Divers 2, Stellar Blade, and then Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
I think it's gonna be Stellar.
I would say I'd personally go with Black Myth Wukong for best action game.
Yeah, because it's a giant boss rush, right?
I mean, it
whole
still
thing?
it has some elements between though where you can explore somewhat, and they have like lesser enemies that you fight, but for the most part, you are linked to bosses pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
for that, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit with that when it came to the action and just trying to get you from place to place to place. But Stellar Blade is quite a bit of action as well.
It'll be one of those two.
Evan, what's the case for Warhammer?
I mean, I liked it. The stuff they've been releasing after the fact's been pretty good with the co-op maps and the updates to it. But it as a whole, I guess, side of this genre, I don't think it really gets as much like respect from the people who would be voting for this versus like just a game that's straight up a video game like Stellar Blade or Black Myth Wukong.
You're a walking tank in that game, though.
You are, and it's constant action. It's very linear. You don't really get to choose that much in terms of path or anything. The bosses aren't really like bosses. I mean, that's the whole thing. You only have so many bosses to fight in that game that feel like really high-end fights, whereas in Black Myth and even Stellar, there's just way more.
I will at least give a shout out to Call of Duty for the campaign. It's very good. So in terms of action games, moment to moment combat, that is up there. So one of the better campaigns in quite some time. But I'm gonna guess that Black Myth Wukong is gonna win, but it wouldn't shock me if Stellar Blade ended up taking it. Oh, there's Sean's category. There it is, Sean. Best VR AR game for the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman, Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, and then Metro Awakening.
Batman.
I'm just gonna go with Sean's vote. I'm gonna take him for his word.
Great game.
I mean, isn't Asgard's Wrath 2 like one of the highest rated VR games ever or something?
Yes, but it's not Batman.
Oh, you haven't played Asgard's Wrath 2, but you have the headset for it now.
Yeah, but Batman's not in that game, so it was kind of lower on my priority list.
Oh my God. Have we played any of the other games?
We played Batman.
Okay, yeah, Sean. Any of the other games?
I don't need
a VR helmet.
I don't need to eat squirrel to know that steak is the best.
Oh my gosh.
You know, that's a very specific analogy.
But have you tried it?
Yeah, have you tried squirrel before? Is this how you're telling us about
haven't.
that?
Well,
You
I'm
haven't?
saying you
Do you
don't
want
have
to? I could probably hook you up.
Nah.
Evan, what do you mean by that? New Evan lore coming out.
There's a lot of squirrels around here. They can go
I mean,
missing.
Asgard's Wrath 2 supposedly is great. It'll either be that or Batman, but I would like to see it go to Batman because Batman's awesome.
Celia,
Wait,
you
just
a
reiterate.
big VR person?
Okay, so I have a PSVR 2, and I also have the Meta Quest 2. I mainly use these things for Beat Saber or racing games. So I haven't played Batman. But Sean, do you think I should play the Batman game?
You got a Quest 3?
No, I don't have a Quest 3.
You're not playing Batman, pal.
Oh, no. I'm outdated. Oh, well. I guess I'll live.
All right, there it is. We'll go with Batman.
Yeah.
Take Sean's word for it. Best mobile game. Best game playable on a mobile device. AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and then Zenless Zone Zero.
Okay. So I haven't played Zenless Zone Zero on mobile, but I've played that game on console, and that was really fun. It was really popular in Japan when I went to Tokyo Game Show. That's when they were debuting it, and they had a bunch of activations. So I was like, okay, I'll play it. So I really want that mobile game to win. But my second runner-up would be Balatro, but I want that for Game of the Year, so I'm going to put that to the side. So that or Pokemon Trading Card Game. Okay,
I don't think
those are my
Balatro
thoughts.
wins Game of the Year. It definitely wins here.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
a game.
This is its consolation prize.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the recency thing, though, Evan. I mean, Pokemon Trading Card Game is big right now. It's like
The
30
crazy
million
part is, though, people still are talking about playing Balatro. Like, outside of the memes with Zenless of the mouse chick and the gifs of her walking, like, Balatro, people still talk about it pretty consistently online about just having fun, having great runs and stuff. So even though it's older, it's still current, I guess, for a lot of people.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now I'm just using my brain a little bit here. One of these games is nominated for Game of the Year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wouldn't theoretically that mean that the game that's in this category
should beat all the others? Yes.
Yes. Because
but we already kind of talked about
none
this
of these
with
games
prior Game of the Year awards where one game wins everything except Game of the Year. It's like, that's kind of bullshit. So
I don't think they would let that happen. If the Game Awards were was like a strict fair thing, then I feel like Balatro would win both categories. But that's just my thoughts and feelings. I'm also very biased.
Okay.
What are you drinking there?
Coffee.
No.
What are you drinking there? Soda?
Water.
Whiskey.
Oh.
Best debut indie game.
It has to be Balatro.
Keep this in mind as we go through this for the next category, I think. Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire.
Balatro was so good as a debut indie game that it's nominated for Game of the Year.
I'm actually going with Animal Well.
But is that nominated for Game of the Year?
They want a big content creator to walk out on stage and accept the award. It'll be great for the show.
I mean, that doesn't always work out for the show in the long run of it.
No.
No.
I liked Animal Well quite a bit. I think that is an awesome, like, it has kind of that pixel art, that HD pixel art look to it. But it's a very good Metroidvania style game where you explore without them specifically telling you where to go, but it uses the world, the environment really well to kind of navigate you. So it's a very simplistic kind of Metroidvania game, but it's very good. So if people out there, if you haven't played it, I recommend checking it out. I feel like that dropped into PlayStation Plus like immediately on launch.
Yeah.
I think I downloaded it there.
It was really, really good. I want Balatro to win. So I am really biased. So
Pacific Drive, I did get that, and I started playing it, and there was just, I mentioned, Evan, the survival aspect to Stalker 2, where they asked you to start eating stuff.
I played
that
a ton
one
of
is like
Pacific Drive.
That's like next level though. It has you do
You
all
can
kinds
turn
of
that
stuff.
off though. You can
Can you?
completely turn all of that off.
Fucking
None of your
very.
vehicle will break. You won't get any weird quirks. But like, I get it. If you leave it on, it is a little ridiculous. My car got to the point where if I turned the windshield wipers on, the car would shut off. So I was like, fuck. And I had to figure out what the hell was going on with that. So it was weird. But yeah, it's a good one. It's not gonna win this.
It's a world that I wanted to explore and learn more about what was going on in the game. But then
I hear the ending wasn't that great. I didn't quite get to it yet.
That you need to do to change your tire, and I'm like, okay, this just feels a little too much like real life.
It's called Triple
I'm
A,
going
dog.
Yeah. Best independent game. Okay, Animal Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and then UFO 50.
Oh, I want UFO 50.
UFO 50 will win this, but
Better.
with a proper line of thinking, technically should be Balatro since it's nominated for Game of the Year. So I think it's also the best independent game.
Balatro's about to sweep this thing.
I mean, if there was consistency, sure, but
Celia, can you tell me about you? Tell me what UFO 50 is, because I keep seeing it brought up. Again, I kind of have a very rough idea as to what it is. Did you play it?
I did not get a chance to play it. It is in my backlog right now because right now I'm on Thanksgiving break, so I will be able to play it. So I will be able to give you a full rundown. I've been avoiding spoilers, but for this game, it's like it says in the title, like it's a ton of different games into one, and it's not like little short adventures. It's like full-on games. And apparently it's incredible. My brother-in-law hasn't shut up about it, and he's probably going to spoil a bunch during Thanksgiving, so I need to start playing it like immediately. But yeah, it looks really, really good.
It's like a more fleshed out, not exactly, kind of similar to remember Retro Game Challenge on the DS, where it had all those built-in mini games. It's like that, but they're more fleshed out.
You should try this game, Sean, because I was looking into it, it sounds like it's kind of like its own world, and then there's like 50 games, but some of them are shorter, some of them are like big, massive games, and they all have backstories to them in terms of the development, and you discover them as you go. And the way it was kind of painted to me, like the picture was, you're a person who just like is going to almost like not necessarily the game store, but like your bedroom kind of thing. You're just going through all these different titles, and it sounds interesting, the setup for it. It's very unique sounding, so I wouldn't mind trying it at some point when I get a chance. But it's also,
if it was good,
it's also only on Steam right now, I think.
Yeah. Side note, Derek Yu is the person that made this game. He's a friend of our studio, so we really like him. But he also he made Spelunky, and Spelunky is awesome. So like he has that pedigree. I think he's made other games as well, but yeah, Spelunky's incredible. So I'm expecting nonetheless from this.
Are they going to bring that shit to consoles, or what are we doing here?
I feel like you have to, right?
I mean, so.
I feel like I would have already played this if it was on consoles.
Yeah, whenever that does happen, I feel like I think it'll have a much more of a reach, obviously a much more reach, but I feel like we'll start seeing it really pop up online, like on social media, where people are like, wow, this UFO 50 game is awesome. Yeah, it's been out for months, but great.
Right.
Kind of like Balatro went to mobile phones and it jumped to the top of the sales charts there. So
potential game of
best
the year.
Community support.
Shovel Knight.
Yeah. Shovel Knight. I work so hard.
For transparency, responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. Why is that? Helldivers 2 went through all kinds of madness with the community.
Isn't this just the doing your job award? Like,
this is one of the awards where it's like, okay, before the commercial break, let's get through these. This is where this goes.
Like shouldn't, if you release a game, shouldn't you have support for the game and transparency, and shouldn't you
not always
do
sometimes
social
you can be a piece
stuff
of shit
for it? Like,
yeah, I wish. Okay, so I'm kind of confused why it is these titles, to be honest. Because like for community support, if it's focused on doing your job and like fostering community and having really cool events, then like Cult of the Lambs should be on here. For an example, like they've done a ton of community events. They did a live rave in Australia and married people. They did like a bunch of crazy things. And if it was really about the community, like actually, and like supporting it, I feel like it would be honestly a bunch of indie games.
kind of want to go with No Man's Sky, actually. Like, it does a ton of
most
updates.
people will lean back to that, yeah.
Reworked that entire thing. They just put out a patch that actually has 8K on the PS5 Pro. So there's a lot of stuff that's happened in that game. And if you just bought it, even way back when it was a disaster on launch, they've just updated it since then for free. Like, you haven't had to pay out anything else, I think. So it's been a pretty good back and forth of the community on that one. Well, let's be real, it'll probably be like Final Fantasy 14 or something. Or Fortnite. Fortnite will win.
Yeah, Fortnite's had some in-game concerts, so there you go.
There it is. Best ongoing. Award to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time.
Which should be where most DLC goes, but hey, it's going other places now.
This is where No Man's Sky should be. All right. Well,
yeah, they just did a huge update this past year, didn't they?
Yeah. Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 had a whole thing about how they nerfed a bunch of stuff and messed things up and then tried to come back and fix it. I don't know if Helldivers 2 would win because of that. I mean, I'm going to probably end up just saying Final Fantasy 14. I feel like that wins ongoing all the time, though.
Yeah.
Fortnite, someone says Fortnite sweeps it, of course. That wouldn't shock me either.
I mean, their ongoing was to reset everything back to what it was and then just go forward from there, just re-releasing all the old seasons. All right.
Games for impact for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Let's see.
Tales of Kenzera.
Distance, Indica, Neva, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Senua Saga, Hellblade 2, or Tales of Kenzara Zell.
It's gonna be Tales of Kenzara because it wasn't the last Game Awards where that got shown and like the guy came out and did a whole talk. Was that where you showed it off, or was that the?
I think that's where it was, where he debuted it. Yeah, I'm between Tales of Kenzara and Senua Saga, between those two, for a thought-provoking game with pro-social meaning or message. Senua Saga more about like mental health, and then Tales of Kenzara about like grieving.
Where's the anti-social meaning or message? That could be a category too.
I kind of want to go with Tales of Kenzara. That's tough.
Have you guys played these games? Just double checking.
I've played all the way on the right. I've played Hellblade 2 and I've played Tales of Kenzara. I've not played the others. Nate plays Life is Strange though. He runs through an entire series, so I was
debating Nova, but I never got around to it.
So Life is Strange is one of my favorite game series. I love it so much. And this is the next game that I'm playing after Metaphor. So I'm very close to having an opinion on it. But I am worried that I didn't see a lot of social media excitement about this after launch. So I don't know if it's gonna like hit as hard as the original games did. Because like the first two, oh my God. Like that was absolutely incredible. Like changed my brain chemistry. So I don't know. I'm curious about this.
Nate tells me I should check out Life is Strange constantly. Like whenever we go over.
Oh my God!
He'll mention it.
Check it out. Play it. It's so good.
I can see John getting to the end of one and just being like, "Huh, that was weird," and then just moving on.
No, I was sobbing.
Innovation and accessibility. Recognizing software and/or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience.
Well, I don't think many people enjoyed Star Wars Outlaws, so that shouldn't be on the list.
Yeah, but I don't think that matters here. This was mostly about settings, right? For like enhanced colorblind stuff.
But it says enjoyed by. Enjoyed by.
Yeah, but I mean, if you need those things and none of these other games have that, then you can't enjoy them anyway. So
somebody said in the chat that Diablo lets blind people play, so I'll say Diablo.
Okay.
If they've got a blind setting, it's probably Diablo.
Yeah, I remember the one that really impressed me one year was Forza, where they made it so that it can kind of almost slow down time for people who have a harder time with reflexes and stuff. But in that case, I'll go with Diablo. I'll go with Diablo then.
I wish they listed what it did.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Make an informed decision.
Best performance award to an individual voice acting, or voiceover acting, motion, and/or performance capture. Let's see. Rihanna White, that's from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Hannah Tell, that's Life is Strange. Humberly Gonzalez from Star Wars Outlaws. Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2. Molina Jurgens. That's Senua
I mean,
Saga Hellblade 2. I feel like it would have to be Hellblade 2.
Yeah,
right?
that's all about the performance, and they put tons of effort into mocap and everything there. So that's got to be where they're going. Because I mean, if you play Silent Hill 2 and listen to any of the things going on and see the visual reaction the character has, no,
I'm gonna vote for Luke.
But it's fine.
I'm gonna vote for Luke because men need to stick together in these trying times.
Jesus.
Okay, Celia, what do you got?
You know, I have no opinion about this, but let's see. I like Hannah's lipstick, so I'm gonna pick her.
Okay, there it is. That'll work.
Okay,
it's a good color.
Right. Best audio design: Astrobot, Call of Duty, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2.
It's got to be Silent Hill, dude. That audio
I'm going with Silent Hill 2. 100% going with Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, I think this is Silent Hill 2's. Hey, here you go. Yeah.
Who's ever looked at Call of Duty and was like, man, that game has great audio design?
There's a whole cross section of people who are like, that gun doesn't sound right, that reload doesn't sound. They're obnoxious, but they also don't need a lot to be happy.
Yeah, it also kind of like footsteps. So like if you're in a building and you have like headphones on and you hear footsteps in your right headphone, then you know that somebody is coming from the right hand side. So kind of stuff.
And then
like
depending
that.
on its muffled nature, whether they're a floor above or below you, which is very difficult with headphones, stuff like that. But in Silent Hill 2, you walk by dripping water.
Okay, I'm the asshole. That's what I'm
dripping water go by.
Yeah, you're a bad person and you should.
I am a bad person and I should feel bad. No, yes. I think I was thinking more of audio design, like soundtrack. To be honest,
that's coming up later.
Oh, okay. That's why I was like, that's what like kind of went in my head. So I was like, oh.
Here you go.
I can't even hum a sound like a track from Call of Duty. So
best score and music.
No,
according to OJ's Twitter, it's got to be Metaphor.
Metaphor, Silent Hill 2, or Stellar Blade.
I feel like Metaphor, but it isn't as good as like Persona. I enjoyed the soundtrack for Metaphor, but it wasn't as jammy.
People are really putting over Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just because the number of tracks that are like, it's a ton of music in that game.
Quantity over quality.
It is kind of like that quantity aspect. I'm trying to think if there's anything that was like overwhelming about Rebirth when it came to like that I really think of, like, because I can think of some Astrobot stuff that was really good, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of how the jury would vote for something like this.
People saying Rebirth. Stellar Blade.
Yeah, I feel like it'll either be Rebirth or Stellar Blade then. Between one of those two. I would probably lean towards Rebirth just because of the number of songs in it. My assumption. Let's see. Best art direction for outstanding creative and/or technical achievement in artistic design and animation.
Neva will take this.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I was gonna say Metaphor, but
Metaphor.
No, because Metaphor will win a couple other things.
Yeah, okay. And Metaphor is gorgeous, but Neva's like, I don't know. It's made for this category.
Right.
Okay. Best narrative. Outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Metaphor. Okay. Rebirth, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2.
I mean, if it's narrative, it would be between Final Fantasy and Senua's, right?
I kind of feel like it was going to be a Metaphor just because that story seems to go on forever and is so intricate with everything happening. I mean, I'm sure Celia can speak to that a bit better, but that's just what I figured. Metaphor. This is like one of those categories where the game is kind of made for it.
Yeah, while I am really enjoying the story, I feel like it shouldn't win. Like, I feel like another title would probably enjoy it better, but I am really enjoying Metaphor. I just haven't played the Hellblade one, or I haven't played Silent Hill, to be honest.
Rebirth just got so out there. Oh, Rebirth got weird. I got to see how they tie it together. That's the problem with Rebirth. It's the middle game. So we already had the opening game. Now we're waiting for the big conclusion. This is kind of like that Empire Strikes Back. Like it's there to bridge to the final games. I don't know. I don't know if I can say it's. I got to see how the story. Like, so the last one absolutely could win this, but I need to see how it all turns out exactly.
I hope Infinite Wealth wins. I love me some Yakuza games.
Okay.
Or Like a Dragon game.
That's a good game. But the thing with Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, is I feel like it's good in a lot of categories, but it's not
best
good
narrative,
enough
yeah.
to overtake everything else around it, like every time. You know, like I feel like it's going to be. It's just an all-around good game, but it's not a great, incredible game for a certain category.
Okay. So maybe Metaphor will win this one.
I wouldn't be shocked if Metaphor won, yeah. Actually wouldn't shock me.
I'm surprised Persona 3 didn't hit any of these as well.
Oh, right.
Because like that one for best best narrative and like
fine.
best soundtrack. Like it was so well done and it was so fun. And it's my favorite Persona now. Like, I don't know. I really
gotta give a shout out to Fransby, who may be Todd Howard. We're still trying to figure this out for gifting 50 Spawnwave memberships. So if you did get one of the memberships that Fransby just gifted, Todd Howard
gifted. It is Todd Howard. Yeah. He
Make
came
sure
by
you
Game and Talk and did 20.
Make sure you drop him a shout out, okay? In the comments, the live chat, or in the comments afterwards if you're watching this. And then there's Fransby again, who says Silent Hill for the win. Silent Hill's winning something. I think it is audio design. I think it's at least taking that.
Got to be audio design. So good.
I want to see who from, if they have, I guess Bloober Team would go up there, because I would be curious if Konami sent somebody to accept the award.
Jeff probably has a no Konami list.
Yeah. We'll get to that. There. How that may have affected game of the year. Best game direction awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
The Silver Award.
Yes. Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or Metaphor ReFantazio.
Innovation. It would just be Balatro. I mean, most of these are just
some of these descriptions. It's like,
yeah, like yeah, because if it's innovation, it's like, okay, well, a lot of these games follow very similar paths to games that came before, not necessarily innovating much.
They didn't proofread their descriptions. Like
this feels like the category that Black Myth Wukong wins. Just like
runner up.
I kind of think so. I kind of feel like this is the silver for Black Myth Wukong.
Then I'm interested in what you think is the gold.
All right.
I
that's kind of where I am with this. Is I mean, I like Black Myth Wukong. I don't think it's like the game that's going to be able to overcome what we're about to see here in a second with the insurmountable odds, I feel like, for it.
I mean, you change a whole rule for your show.
I know.
Come on. You're basically showing your hand.
So wait, I have a question for Black Myth Wukong. So I know that there was a lot of discourse about that game prior to the Game Awards saying that it was going to get snubbed for some reason. I wasn't following it, but I've been seeing it in like so many different categories.
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
So,
I think a lot of people were pointing out that even though it did sell well, most of those sales were to China, which doesn't really sell that much, like normally for a lot of the games. So like whenever you see huge numbers of people playing it, it's just because China bought it. So there's this idea that it's going to get put in here solely because China wants a game in here, but it's like, all right, just give up with that weird narrative.
There was also some very poor reporting done leading up to the game's release of like this, that, and the other work conditions and stuff like that ended up being false. And of course, none of the people took accountability. So that kind of gave it a little bit of a knockdown too. And then when you start to think about who this panel of jury people are, some of those motherfuckers that wrote those articles are the people that are voting on it. So, you know, I don't really see it winning runner up. But that's just me.
Who do you think is going to win runner up, Sean?
I don't know. I really don't. I would say Metaphor probably, and then Erd Tree wins this because you literally, like Evan said, you literally changed the award show to include this game.
Here it is.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt on this. So I am not an Elden Ring person. I played Elden Ring, but I am not. That isn't the game I pick up. I'm a Metaphor person or Balatro. Did the DLC change anything about the game besides adding a new area, exploration, bosses, etc.?
It didn't add achievements.
No, I was kind of worried about that. So Celia, the way it works with, of course, Elden Ring, you said you played some of it, like the base game. So you know how you'll level up. You of course put stat points and stuff into your character for your build to go along with your armor, weapon stuff. when they released Shadow of the Erd Tree, they changed up a little bit in terms of a power up to where you have like Skidoo Tree things and you some Ashes of War, and one levels up your defense and the other one levels up one levels up your Ashes of War, or like the little summon basically, and the other one levels up just your overall strength. So they did kind of change up the progression system because they didn't want people to walk in
and just
over leveled and just destroy everything. So you actually have to hunt these things down to get stronger, and it's only specific to that area that they introduced in the DLC. So they changed that up, but in terms of the structure of the game, no, it's very much just more Elden Ring.
That's a bummer that it's added to the Game of the Year.
Okay, so here's the big question. Game of the Year, Celia: Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantazio. Shadow of the Erd Tree is a DLC. How do we all feel about DLC being in here, Celia? Go ahead.
I don't like that. It won Game of the Year a few years ago, I think, if I remember correctly.
You're right.
And for it to just sweep again like that, it just doesn't make sense, because though you said that, it made some changes to the game, it's still fundamentally the same game. And one thing I forgot to ask you, is it added at the end, like it's end game stuff? Do they just throw it in the middle?
It's not end game. You have to get to a point, kill a certain boss, then you can do it. It's not even end game.
It's just blended into the game. It's not even a standalone. And I just think that's very unfair to do, because it already won. So of course it's going to win again, and it's not highlighting new games. And I feel like, sorry, this is going to turn into a rant. I feel like a lot of the game industry, like a issue that we're having right now, is we're doing so many repeats of remakes and redos and remasters that we're just rethrowing things in and having consideration. I think Elden Ring is great, and I know that a lot of people enjoyed it, but we should have a different category, or ongoing game, or
we did. It's category. Ongoing games.
Yeah, exactly. And it should be like that. Should what it should sweep in, because it already had its chance in the sun, and I think it's really unfair to do that again for this. And it seems like it was really intended to have it be included intentionally. So it's probably going to win this, and I think it's a bummer.
Clip
I hope
that.
Balatro wins.
Clip that, Twitter.
Yeah, but make sure that Sean's camera is the one in frame.
Yeah, I actually think Twitter very much agrees with Celia for the most part.
A lot of people.
I mean, then in that case,
she's a cute girl, of course.
Damn. Jesus.
That'll be one clip.
Yeah, right. I think it's silly. You need the base game. You need to have Elden Ring to play Shadow of the Erd Tree. So it's not if you want to have a DLC category, you want to have a remake, remaster category, I think that'd be cool. Like, why not? You can trim some of the fat of those other categories. The Capcom collection, like so much.
There's
so much. You don't have to have. The thing of it is that I feel like categories should be a little dynamic, not necessarily in terms of changing things, but in terms of removing something or adding something, adding a category or removing a category, because the game industry is constantly evolving.
Yeah,
when you pigeonhole games into certain things, because like Sifu in fighting game, for example, like you're clearly just adding that because there wasn't enough stuff there representative of the year. So for me, I mean, Astrobot was really enjoyable. My game of the year, Arkham Shadow, was not on this list, so I was a little sad.
Do a write-in or something.
The DLC thing is strange, because if it was a really bad year, it's like, wow, we got to find something, and it's like, okay, let's just turn to the DLC. You make a case, I guess, for that. There are other games that just got left out because Shadow of the Erd Tree is taking up a spot. So, I mean, I know it's a whole thing between Konami and Jeff and stuff, but like Silent Hill 2, I think would have been I feel like that would have been a good one to drop in there if we're just looking for a game at this point. And the other thing, though, this was brought up. People seem very confused as to why Balatro is in the Game of the Year category.
There's always a representation from indie.
Yeah, I saw this a lot online.
There's always a mobile game in there.
Okay, time out. Have any of you guys played Balatro?
Yes, I've played it. Yep.
It's a game.
Okay, the people that have played Balatro get it, and the people that haven't played Balatro don't get it. And it's one of those things where this game is incredible. It's addicting. People are constantly talking about it. Meme culture has really laid into it, and I'm so excited to have indie representation, and not just that, but solo dev indie representation that's not backed by a huge conglomerate. I think it's great. I'm excited. Local Thunk is such a nice guy. I hope he takes it.
No, and it is great, but again, we go to the description here. Best
Ignore
experience across all creative and technical fields. All of them.
Okay. Well,
technically it works.
Yeah,
it worked.
How dare you?
Hey, in an age where a game comes out and people cross their fingers and hope it works on their console first try, Balatro, pretty stable game there. Yes, It looks like a game from the 16-bit era, but you know what? It works. That's something I thought about, though, when this game was there and people were going back and forth on it. Really, the thing that matters the most for a game is the gameplay loop. And if it's fun, it's just, I feel like if Balatro looked like some crazy AAA style game in terms of visuals, it probably wouldn't get that question mark. But at the end of the day, it's a card game and it only needs so much to get the point across. But the gameplay loop is good. You're right, Celia. And it is good enough to where people, you see this all over. There's some big examples on Twitter right now where people are like, what is this doing here? I don't get it. And they go and try it and they come back and they're like, I made a terrible mistake. I'm sorry. So now the Balatro account is going around and just dropping images of the Joker under these different threads as like, oh, you got it. Okay. You figured it out. So it's an interesting game. I mean, it's a take on basically like poker, roguelike style. It's hard to describe and it's nothing out there like it. So if we want to ask for unique games that are high quality, they should probably be in the game of the year conversation, at least.
I 100% agree with that. And also with pixel art representation, I think is really cool as well, because a lot of people, and I think you mentioned it like a couple minutes ago when you mentioned that it was like 16-bit and you're like, oh yeah, like 16-bit, like I think a lot of people, they tend to look at sometimes like pixel art games as like, oh, they're less quality, but no, they're just as beautiful. There's so much hard work into it. And to have representation in that in the indie scene, I think is great for this category.
It's a game people spend, I saw some people say they're like 100 hours in or two or something. So in terms of time, even, it's hard to argue with that. It's hard to argue with that, the amount of money you put into it for what you get out of it. So, hey, there it is. Sean changing his vote now.
Let's go, Balatro.
Yay.
So, I'm looking at this now, and I think the fear is that for a lot of people is that Shadow of the Erdtree is going to set a precedent here and win SDLC. I do not think Shadow of the Erdtree is going to win.
You think it's based on the comment that it's only there to make people talk about it?
I think this is a beautiful perspective of Jeff Keighley. I think this is a beautiful setup for the discussion, the controversy, everything.
Yeah, this is a tweet storm.
It's hard to get more and more people to tune in every year, right? Because eventually you're going to run out of people. So you got to keep doing whatever you can to get eyes on it. And apparently he set this a while ago, but then he waited this long to then update the website. That is a weird thing to me. I don't get that. But I think Shadow of the Erdtree is there as a good conversation starter. I kind of feel like the game that is going to win game of the year out of the 6 titles here is the one game that Sean actually played through here on the list. Astrobot gets the gold.
I played a bunch of Metaphor. I just didn't beat it.
Yeah.
I played a bunch of Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. I played a bunch of Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and I just got tired of it because of the padding.
I said the one game you played through. You played through. Okay. You saw all the way through Astrobot, and that's how I know it's that good. It pulled Sean along, and he got it done. Although I think he probably put more time into Rebirth than Astrobot. Now I think about it.
Yeah, probably.
Astrobot's like get that thing done in like 12 or 13 hours. Rebirth, you get like 20 some hours in, and you're just getting to the beach.
Yeah, well, the beach.
And then it's then all downhill from there for Sean.
Downhill from there.
I'm going with Astrobot. That's my pick.
I just think this illustrious lineup of games truly shows what a banner year.
Oh gosh,
for video games.
I think Shadow of the Erdtree is really messing this lineup up for people. It's unfortunate that's like the big talking point is that rather than some of the games that are here. Like if it was Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Silent Hill 2 or Stellar Blade or Infinite Wealth, then Rebirth, and I don't think there'd be as much of a discussion around this. So that's why it feels so strategic to me looking at it. It's like,
this is an Xbox moment.
Yeah. Hey, maybe that's it. What do you think, Celia? Are you pulling for Metaphor? Is that the move? Because it's one of the highest rated games of the year. It's Astrobot, Metaphor, and Urtry.
I'm doing indie solidarity. As much as I love Metaphor, and I gotta back up. But like it's kind of one of those things where I love Metaphor so much. If Persona 3 Reload was on here, that would have gone my vote. I would have been sorry, indie solidarity. I'm going to Metaphor, not Metaphor. I'm going to Persona. Yeah, I'm gonna go Bellaccio. I want to see an indie win.
When's Persona 3? That has DLC coming up, right? Is that already out, or is that the end?
Everything's already out. I played that too. That's very good.
That was their mistake. They should have held it to Q1 of next year, and they could have been in the running.
I know, but P3 was so good.
Well, all right. So you're going with Bellaccio, you said?
Yeah, I'm going with Bellaccio. I want to see him win.
Okay, Sean, what's your pick?
Of what I think is going to win, Erdtree.
Okay, going with Erdtree. What about you, Evan?
I think solely for having to use his Game Awards orchestra, he'll probably pick Black Myth Wukong just to play it, just to play music in the background, see the video going. Everyone's happy about it. Even though it has all that weird journalist stuff on the side of it, it's still supposed to be just like a medium, small-sized company, technically. That made it.
It is really funny. A lot of the stuff's going to be kind of dark and brooding for the orchestra, I feel like, and then Astrobot's going to come in with like the bright, happy like sounds.
It's just a xylophone. Just
yeah. That's good stuff. So we ran all the way through it. That was everything. We ran through all the categories. I think there were still some super chats that were here. I'll take a look at real quick. Here we go.
Yeah,
let's see. We'll go through these. Rufflemutt says, RGT, you should get in touch with Jack Move. He's been saying the same thing for years and got crap for it. Me too, by the way, is why I play Switch over my PS5.
Jack Move is coming on the show very soon. We were actually going to have him on this episode, but he's out of town, and then next week we're off. But I told him I'd get up with him the next week we're back.
Okay. Keep an eye out, Rufflemutt. Sometime in December. We'll see if we can get him on. Future Millionaire says, sup guys, these Black Friday sales for the most part have been great. Almost embarrassed to admit how many games I've bought. I've been looking around. I'm ready. I think this week coming up, I'm gonna grab a couple titles.
I haven't bought anything. I'm pretty happy with it. I do think that everyone, if you have a Switch, that Sonic Superstars for $17 is a great fucking deal on the eShop.
That's a good pickup. Hey, Armor Core 6 is $20 right now. That's a good pickup. $20 for that.
Yeah, Shovel Knight is only $20. That's a good pickup.
There it is.
So it's between Shovel Knight and Armored Core.
Yeah, and GTA Trilogy's 50% off on Switch as well now that they've actually done something.
Sean's got a video showcasing that. Sean and MVG. So it is fixed. It looks good. Andy Ackerman says, what is even happening right now? I don't know.
Just life.
Perfect Image says, why Rise of the Ronin wasn't nominated for something? Good question. That game is good, but I just don't. I don't know if that resonated with as many people. Yeah, that's the thing.
Cool trailers.
I like the game. I still play it. Like it's a game I play an hour here, an hour there, and it's fun. I don't know if it was like anyone's thinking about this year, like, oh, Rise of the Ronin. What an incredible game. I don't think it necessarily held up with that, but it's a fun game. Andy Ackerman says, I was going to save myself for marriage, but since there's a live show, I got to move up my timeline. I wish another shout out to Fransby again, of course. Shout out to Fransby. Let's see. The Casual Noob Gamer says, what if new Final Fantasy VII decides it is 4 games, not 3? They've said 3. They are very adamant about that. But what if they decide to package all 3 games together, release it under a single title? Do they then also get into the Game Awards with that?
Probably.
Final Fantasy Complete.
It depends if
it's DLC.
Depends if it's a banner year or not.
Every year's a banner year.
Evidently.
Mr. Pedro online says, live Spawncast always better. Hey, pal. Shout out to Mr. Pedro online. And G. Gary says this show is more exciting than the actual Game Awards show. Hey, we're aim to please. Oh, okay. And then Tusk says, Cecilia, also an indie dev, how do you feel about the indies being sent into their own categories? Would you also prefer if they were just games? Do you think an indie winning game of the year would open that up?
So indies can get into the game of the year category. Example, Balatro, going for the win, guys. But having your own category, I think it should be broken up even more, to be honest, if I was in charge of things, because like with indie, like what qualifies as an indie? And you can look at it and like the main, I guess, overarching thing is that you're an independent studio, like that's not attached to like a AAA. But in that note as well, it's like, well, if you have a publisher and that publisher has a huge amount of backing, and maybe a partial of that backing might be like a huge company like Tencent, that still counts. Like there's so many different qualifiers, and it's like, how can you compare like 100-person indie AA team to like a guy hanging out in his basement making a really cool game, and it's just him and like two buddies that they've known each other since like college? I just feel like the playing ground is too wide to even throw in also the large AAA studios, and then because then we would not get much visibility in general. So like I think it's cool to have two separate categories where AAA can't get into, but also having the door open for the game of the year. I just wish they would break up indie even more, so there would be even more opportunity to spotlight really awesome games. Hope that answers your question.
Medallion says, live Spawncast. We are so back. Shout out to Medallion. G-Man says, why do games Evan plays never get nominated?
Yeah, why is that, Evan? What did you do?
Because I play fun games that are actually interesting and not just remakes of old shit.
Banner games.
Banner games for a banner year.
Hell yeah. I play games that sells 3 million in 2 weeks and don't even get talked about by Game Awards. Doesn't matter.
It's Jack says, who's hyped for Flute Guy to be back again, hopefully?
Dude, Flute Guy has to be back Flute Guy has to be center stage opening. Come on.
Yeah. I think they're gonna get the person who does like the background for Metaphor, that song, because he's like in a video online during like the battle music and stuff. I think they're gonna get him. The guy who just like kind of yells in the background during Metaphor's like battle screen. I think they're gonna get him there.
I hope they have him and Flute Guy and they can do a collab. That'd be incredible.
I think that's everything though. Hey, shout out to the people coming through here. Random live stream, but it was fun. We got our game of the Game Award stuff out of the way here, going through it. We're gonna be back December 6th or December 7th. We'll have our podcast go live. Let me go around here. Celia, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Game and Talk. We do lives on YouTube, and it's really fun. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm at Celia B. I share indie game stuff, and I post about Shovel Knight, and I post cats. It's fun.
And you're on Thanksgiving break now, so you're checking out a bunch of games, I assume.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I did an open call to suggest me your favorite indie game. So luckily, conveniently, there's a bunch of sales going on right now. So I'm going to spend a bunch of money and then be in indie game heaven. Okay,
that works. What about Sean?
You can find me on Twitter with people probably talking shit about a clip that I have out there. You can also you can also find me on my channel. Blaze says, nice hoodie. You can get this on Solidcasts. Blaze, where's your Shopify? Solidcast Shopify.
You can drop that in there.
I gotta make sure I'm not talking on my ass here, bro.
Okay.
The solidcastshop.com.
Okay.
How does Blaze have merch, but we don't?
Hey, what?
Here's the link. Yeah.
There it is.
We have Spawncast merch, just no one buys it.
Oh, okay.
We have a lot of people who like to be in chat and not spend any money.
Evan, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on socials, YouTube at Kimmerix Project. I might actually go live in a little bit. I'm trying to figure this game out that I've been just finished putting together. So we might be going over that on my channel here soon. Let me get some food
good stuff.
first.
Okay, go check out Evan. I think you said you're streaming today.
Probably in about an hour.
Okay. Go check him out in about an hour. Okay, go say hi.
Yeah, we just hang out and talk.
It's great to see Spawncast live again. More, please. We'll see. You know, maybe we'll do some special one-off events here and there. especially in 2025. Now and then it will go live for a show. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. Thanks all the good people here. Make sure you check them out. I'll have them linked down below in the description. Of course, we'll be back December 7th. So this week, Thanksgiving. The following, we'll be back to run into the end of 2024. We'll see you guys then.